Welcome to Week 4 running back rankings, doing football here from OwnersBox. Be sure to check out OwnersBox Week 4 salary cap contest this week, $50,000 prize pool. Today, we're going to be doing top 24 running back rankings, but we'll really probably touch on about 30 running backs this week in fantasy football. Give you an idea of where you should expect them to finish this week. We'll run through them all. They're going to come up on the screen for you. So let's get started. Jared, let's get to, new number one.
New number one.
We said it last week. We said Wednesday.
Christian McCaffrey will be one until he gets hurt. But we did knock on wood after saying that, so it's not our fault that he got hurt.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. we said it. I think we probably said it every week, kind of like that. Okay, so get started. Again, Jared took care of him this
I made the rankings this week. The new number one, it's my guy. It's Austin Eckler. Now, he's going up against the Raiders, and he has been very good so far to start the year. In week 1, we didn't see him get involved in the passing game, but everything's changed since then. He's very involved. I think he had 6 receptions last week. He's getting in the end zone too. He has 2 touchdowns in 3 games. That's what you love to see. So that's enough for me to put him at 1.
Definitely something to be excited about is that he's been used. He's still being used inside the red zone. I did see a Larry Roundtree carry inside the 5, but even then it was one carry. So it's crazy what the Chargers are doing right now in terms of Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler are all. Mike Williams' emergence hasn't harmed the big guys. It hasn't harmed Eckler or Keenan Allen, which is good to see. Yeah,
like Larry Roundtree, his usage is just like valueless touches.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's Derrick Henry. He's got the Jets this week, so I would not be surprised if he has a monster game.
Or 40 carries incoming for this guy.
Yeah, I could easily see it. Like, he's the highest priced guy, but with how much opportunity he likely gets against the Jets, I'm definitely willing to put him all the way up there at 2. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have him at 1.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Chubb. Now, it was all Kareem Hunt last week. This week, I see a big Nick Chubb game coming. The Vikings' run defense hasn't been great, and I suspect Chubb, he's gonna be back after having a kind of a poor week last week. So I like him all the way up there at 3 against the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
At 4, I got Kamara. Now I think he had a pretty decent game last week. It wasn't like the old Alvin Kamara, but he's got the Giants this week. Again, like he's just going to be a guy that I don't know if he's ever going to be that running back 1 like we saw last year, but he just is still a top 5 guy.
I will be honest, like every Monday when I look at the numbers from the past week and from Sunday, he's always the guy I look at the least because I'm just like top 5. Like every week I know that he's going to be safe in my lineups. It might not work out every week, but again, the opportunity is just Derrick Henry-like opportunity. It's just not necessarily in the running game. It's also in the passing game.
Yeah.
So.
Now, you were a bit surprised I had Deandre Swift this high, but he's my number 5. He has got the Bears, but he is being used so heavily in the receiving game that I don't think it matters that the Bears are able to stop the run because he's just going to get 6 to 8 receptions for 60 yards.
Yeah, I think
that's guaranteed 13 points.
I think if you draft him, you're very happy because he's someone you can play regardless of the matchup. I think it's just so hard to predict where he finishes, like every player is, but I think he's the most difficult to predict. But he's definitely a guy like he had no problem playing every week right now.
In PPR, he's running back 3 so far this year, so great value if you got him in the 3rd round of drafts. At 6, Aaron Jones. Now after week 1, he's just been great for the Packers. Tough matchup against the Steelers, but I don't think that's going to harm him too much. I like him there at 6.
The loss of TJ Watt, it was the first time they hadn't had a sack this past week in I can't even remember how many games.
It's like
forever.
Insane. I feel like it's like 70 something.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So that helps for Aaron Jones' matchup and really helps for the Packers in general.
For sure. At 7, I got Antonio Gibson. He's got a great matchup against the Falcons. Last week he didn't do much outside of that one insane 73-yard reception, but I think he's gonna get more involved in the passing game now. He's recovering from that injury. It was like an AC sprain or something that he had, which kind of impacted his ability to catch. He's gonna get more involved, I suspect, and he's gonna run all over the Falcons. So I like that. At 8, you can't ignore Naji Harris. His ridiculous 19 targets last week.
No,
especially since this is a full PPR. We're talking on OwnersBox here. Naji Harris, if he gets even half of the receiving touches he got last week, he's going to have a great week, so you can't ignore it. I
said to Jared that Naji Harris has been contacted in the backfield on 70% of his carries, which is crazy. But again, the targets in that it's not sustainable. And if their wide receiver group is healthy, this won't continue. But they're banged up, and it could be just more of the same we saw last week. I mean, the passing volume was just insane.
Yeah.
When the Steelers are down, they're going to throw the ball 50 plus times, it seems like. So, but that's not a problem for Harris. Yeah.
We don't know if Deontay Johnson or Juju Smith-Schuster will play yet.
Yeah.
So that's still to be determined. At 9, I have James Robinson. He had a great week last week. They used him it felt like every single time that either they threw the ball, it went to James Robinson.
It's finally back. I knew it was coming. They couldn't hold out on this guy much longer, and we finally saw it. So we can breathe and feel good after what we were talking about before the season to go to being excited for him.
So he's a great value on OwnersBox this week. It's only 5,800, so I like James Robinson at 9. Saquon Barkley, another guy, finally back. He had that touchdown last week. He does have the Saints, so it's a bit of a tough matchup. But with these wide receivers being out, I think he's going to be quite involved in the passing game.
Davonte Booker was a healthy scratch.
Oh, really?
He was inactive, so
they trust Saquon.
They're ready to roll with Saquon.
He's full go.
Now,
so if you bought him last week, like we told you to, hope you did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a good one from the fellas there too. Now, number 11, I think it's time we might need to be Joe Mixon apologists.
We might. We've got a Joe Mixon truth in the office here. Yo, Drew, come over here for a sec. So
some context. Drew, in our live fantasy football draft, if you haven't seen it, one of the best videos on OwnersBox.
Yep.
He
join the show for a second.
Loved Joe Mixon this season. Usage, volume, opportunity was fantastic. And look,
we hated Joe Mixon.
Jared might be wrong, and I do think Jared really gave him some crap. So I think it might be time for an apology.
Drew, we've been going back and forth at it on Joe Mixon all off season. I'm finally ready to admit I was wrong. You were right. You were right about Joe Mixon. I watched the tape back last week. He was great.
Are you being serious?
He played so well. He was incredible.
I feel like I'm about to get pranked at the end of this. Like Ashton Kutcher's going to come out and like.
No, Joe Mixon, he's been really good.
Wow, I'm
back on the Joe Mixon train. So
you knew you couldn't sit here and say it without calling me over to apologize first.
I had to do it on the show.
All right. Good luck.
Psych, never mind. Joe Mixon sucks. He still sucks. We're just kidding. We still hate him. Joe Mixon, do not draft him. He's still bad.
Do not trade for him. Don't do any of it. He stinks. But
that being said, he's got the Jags this week, so
yes,
you got to start him. It's a good matchup for him.
Top 12 running back.
He still sucks though. Keep that in mind.
Number 12.
Number 12. He's a bit low, but it's Dalvin Cook. The only reason he's this low is because of the injury.
Yeah.
Now we don't know if how impactful he's gonna be if he plays.
We had him right around here last week, and Madison came in and took over that role completely. So quite frankly, like even with this matchup, if it's the same story, I would probably be slotting Madison somewhere right around here too.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I put Dalvin Cook at 12 mainly because I think if he doesn't play, Madison goes right into that slot at 12.
Yeah.
And if he does play, he'll be a little bit impacted and won't be that top 5 back we used to see from him.
Yeah.
I like that spot for him there. At 13, you didn't like that I have this guy so low. It's Jonathan Taylor. He hasn't been that good to start the year. He had back-to-back weeks with just 6 and 7 fantasy points. So I'm not fully in on Jonathan Taylor being that RB1 you can rely on. I think he's still going to have the volume. He could get in the end zone, but we haven't seen it yet. So I don't trust him to be that RB1 so far, but what do you think? I know you like him a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far into it. I just think that this team's been in so many negative game scripts so far this season, which doesn't help. And a matchup with the Dolphins, I think, is exactly what he needs. The Dolphins were offensively were terrible. They scored 14 points basically from the defense. There was a pick 6, and then there was a turnover that ended up at like the 20, and this offense couldn't put the ball in the end zone until really, really late in the game or score at all afterwards. So I do think that this is a great game script for them, and they need to run the ball, especially with Carson Wentz's injury. So I think that this could be a big week for Taylor. So I would target him on OwnersBox. I mean, you still have him in the 13s close, but I do think he has a chance to have a big week.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. He definitely has that ability any given week. Just because we haven't seen it yet, I'd rather take the guys we have seen it from so far. So that's why I have him a little bit lower than usual. At 14 and 15, I got both Cowboys back to back here. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. Now, some people might be surprised I got Pollard right after Elliott, but it just keeps getting closer and closer every week how much they're using each of these guys. Pollard I think his snap share is up to 40% compared to Zeke's 70, which I know that adds up to 110%, but it's because they use them both sometimes.
I think it was 16 rushing attempts for Zeke, 10 for Pollard, I think,
so it was close. And I don't know. The reason I have them both not in the top 12 is because they do have a tough matchup against the Panthers. Panthers' run defense has been sneaky good. They've stopped everybody from doing anything, so if anybody's going to do it, it's probably this combo. But because they just take away from each other, I don't have them that high, and I like them being like right next to each other too.
Right. I think that's more my problem is that I think it's going to be tough for them both to finish as RB2s on the week. I mean, they can do it considering like if they run the ball well like they did on Monday, then I think it can happen because if they both have, if Zeke has 100 rushing yards or 90 rushing yards and Pollard has 70, then we're talking about guys who like sustainably can be RB2s together. But at the same time, if the game's like if it doesn't go their way and they're losing in this football game, then how likely are we to see them in running back 2 and in the top 15? But let's keep.
Yeah,
moving.
I get that.
Let's keep
at 16, I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now the Eagles just got decimated by the Cowboys. I don't know if it's going to be the same for Clyde. The Eagles did look good the first 2 weeks stopping the run.
Yeah, they're banged up front. Yeah. They are. So, I mean, I don't mind this at all.
He's just a solid running back, too, in my eyes.
Yeah.
Same thing with Chris Carson, honestly. Like, he has just been a consistent RB2. He's got the 49ers this week. I expect to see around the same production from him. So, I like him right at that 17 spot. And David Montgomery, like, these guys, I think, are just interchangeable at this point.
Yeah, it's
Clyde,
the
Carson,
Bears
and
better
Montgomery.
use David Montgomery this week. Last week was just embarrassing. They need to put the ball in this guy's hands.
With the Lions, I hope they do it. Although the Lions did kind of just do well against the Ravens, so we don't know. But David Montgomery, you got to put him in your lineup if you have him. At number 19, Kareem Hunt. He just had a great week against the Bears. But as I mentioned earlier, Nick Chubb is, I think, the guy this week. So I do only have him as a lower end RB2. But I could easily see him having another great week.
Yeah, this is still the chance to be heavily involved with the pass catcher situation. Odell did actually look good in his first game back. We'll get into that more, I think, with this team and start and sit. But I still think that Hunt can have a good week too against the Vikings.
At 20, Chase Edmonds. This is going to be a high scoring game, I think. Cardinals, Rams. So Chase Edmonds will be on the field a lot. They won't use much of James Conner. Definitely put him in your lineups if you have him. 21, Darrell Henderson. Now, he was just injured last week. That's the reason I have him this low. Otherwise, if he was healthy, I'd probably have him at top 10 because the Cardinals' run defense sucks.
Yeah. Look, the Michelle usage last week was interesting too because he had I think 3 receptions, 4 targets. Like, it is very valuable to be a running back for the Los Angeles Rams. I think regardless of who it is. So if you could go target Darrell Henderson, I think you should be doing it because if he's on the field and he's healthy, the usage is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah. We definitely monitor the reports on if he's going to play.
Yeah.
Because if he's a full go, definitely slot him into your lineup.
Yep.
Chuba Hubbard, I got at 22. And I don't think he's going to have anywhere close to the output McCaffrey did, but he's still a solid RB2 this week against the Cowboys, so I like him there.
I don't even know how good the Cowboys' run defense is because, losing Lawrence and then they played the Chargers. The Chargers didn't run the ball great against them, but the Eagles ran the ball like 7 times on Monday.
Didn't run it at all. I think Miles Sanders had like 2 carries going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Kenny Gainwell, I think, had more rushing attempts than him. So I don't even know how good this Cowboys defense is because, again, we saw it against the Bucs who can't run the ball. We know that. We saw it against the Chargers and they were all right. And then this past week, we don't know what to expect. So, I'm still comfortable playing Chuba Hubbard because the usage when McCaffrey was down was almost reminiscent of what McCaffrey does in terms of opportunity. Not quite there, but I think it'll still be close. So if it's a competitive game too, this should be good for Chuba.
Yeah, for sure. Now somebody who's been getting a lot of hype the past few weeks, Javonte Williams. I don't have as much hype about him this week just because we haven't really seen it yet. Like Melvin Gordon's still there. They're going to continue to split touches. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's a must start if you've got the guys ahead of him, but he's just kind of a flex option at this point. Like I might even say he's a bit too high at 23. I don't like him that much against the Ravens just because I don't trust either of these guys. They need to get a touchdown if they want to be productive.
It felt good that we were up on Javonte last week. I think we had him in the top 15 or so, and he scored, which was good. Yeah. But again, he's definitely matchup dependent. And Melvin Gordon, I watched a good amount of this game because I did have Javonte in my OwnersBox lineups, and then we had him highly ranked. Yeah. And Melvin Gordon was still getting he was still worked in. He still looked good. He had some work inside the 22. So
they're both going to be involved. So it's tough there. And then to round out the rankings at 24, I got Myles Gaskin. Now they don't even have Tua in there. Myles Gaskin's still the guy, but Malcolm Brown got a big touchdown last week, so it's not like it's just Myles Gaskin. He's kind of just like a back-end RB2 at this point.
The sweat of my life on Sunday, the Dolphins in the Dolphins game, had the Dolphins to cover the spread, and they're inside the 2. I think, actually the penalty was in the end zone, so it was at the 1, and they went wildcat for 2 straight plays, and he didn't get in. So I think they will run the ball a good amount here, and as well in the red zone. I think they'll run the ball. Brissett is just like so average that I think they'll utilize the run when they can, and when the game script's good, they'll be running the ball a fair bit.
Yeah. And then that rounds out the rankings. Do you have are there any surprises that you think that I don't have in there?
Yeah, I mean, we have to figure out the running back situation in San Francisco, who's healthy. So definitely keep an eye on our on the blog. Mitchell. The blog we linked in the description. Check out our rankings when if we're updating them for any of these matchups or for any of these injuries. That's the only one really to me, because 49ers running backs are always valuable.
Yeah. We just don't know what's going to happen with them yet this week.
I am surprised with Sanders. Are you just more worried about how things split? Because it is the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is just going to be, they might go down early again like they did with the Cowboys. And if that's the case, are they going to give Sanders the ball at all? Because it might just be the same as last week, where they don't give him enough touches for him to be valuable.
Right. But the Chargers are far and away the worst against the run this season. And if Justin Jones is... the Chiefs are right near the bottom, not the Chargers. Jeez. But I was just thinking that because I was also looking at the rankings here, is if we find out who's running the ball for if it's Josh Jacobs this week, even if it's Peyton Barber, I would play them, because the Chargers, again, like I just mentioned, Justin Jones was out this past week, didn't practice at all. If that's the same here, the Chargers, he's the nose tackle, he's the kind of the heart of the middle of the defense. So a Raiders running back would be valuable to me. So again, you need to keep an eye on this. And then
injury reports. From
the fantasy perspective, we should talk about this. We'll probably go more on start sit. I maybe should have saved it for them, but this is a Monday night game. So you need to, if you want to start one of these guys, let's say you have both of them. I mean, hopefully you have both of them, but if you don't, leave the flex. You need to make sure you leave the flex open, because if Jacobs isn't starting, he's not playing, then you need to be able to pivot to a pass catcher. If it's
maybe you got Bryan Edwards on the bench or something.
Edwards or Ruggs, something like that. So
I agree.
Even Renfrow off the wire that we talked about yesterday. So
some of these backfields are just so banged up. It's hard to know who's going to be the guy, depending on who's injured, who's out. So it's tough to evaluate guys like Peyton Barber and Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, this early in the week. We want to get it out to you guys as quickly as we can. But again, we don't want to put our, stick our leg out for a guy who might not even step on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's Dalvin Cook, then we're happy to do it.
I also put Darrell Patterson up at 29. I know you probably don't like that. I put him above Mike Davis.
He's like a top 7. What is he? Top 7 running back through 3 weeks. So I don't have a problem with it at this point. He led the team in receiving yards last week. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, comment if you have any questions or anything fantasy football wise you want to talk about. Subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're interested, I know some people have been in the comments asking for the Discord link. We can get that to you if you want to join. Always answer questions in there. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.